more time. Philip K. Dick is
unimaginably healthy.
And how do you say this? I mean, you just read the quote in
okay, word.
Yeah. But how do you, Wyatt? How does it appear to you that it is amazingly healthy? I happen to agree.
Right. Being born in America, you from the beginning of life, you're shoved down with these ideas of nationalism and patriotism and what you're supposed to be doing as a human being on planet Earth. But there happens to be subjective truth and objective truth at the same time, and at some point along the line, they coincide, and maybe I don't know if I'm making sense, but once you're aware of the truth, like it's hard to go back from it, and like once you're at that point, like you're no longer thinking in terms of nationalism or patriotism that your parents and grandparents held dear to their hearts. You're thinking in terms of outside of the machine.
I'm going to jump metaphors.
Go for it.
Icarus.
Yes.
Buckminster Fuller suggested that the most important lesson for humans to learn is the myth of Icarus. That if we try and fly on the wings of our parents, that we get too close to the sun and the glue melts.
And you fall and die.
And we fall and die.
So what should have Icarus done then?
Should is a fascinating word.
Right.
And I will attempt not to shit all over you and hope that you won't shit all over me. I just like that phrase.
Yeah.
I call those verbatim vitamins. Sometimes I can call them cliches. To me, there are certain functions of certain sound bites, and so that's why I will say whatever that phrase was, mind blank.
Icarus?
Right, but about the verbatim vitamins versus cliches. Cliches are useful. Cliches are my friend. Cliches are social liquids. It's flow. And they also many times are like nuggets of truth. And while I might not know the truth, I have little bits of what appear to me as truths. And looking at those little bits, constellations appear to me. And then from those constellations, I also see people that I'm in network with, even though there might not be official ties. Many times, those people are familiar with Philip K. Dick. I was frustrated that when I was in Los Angeles and was excited to have been invited to see the opening of the Scanner Darkly, and my host wanted to go to Mexico instead. And it was sort of like he kept upping the wealth that he was willing to put into this thing to make it so that we're not going to go see a Scanner Darkly. Booze, luxury, and hookers in Ensenada was the promise. But I didn't sleep with the prostitute because he wouldn't hire the one that I wanted. Some people say I cut off my nose to spite my face. I just didn't want her. Pardon me for being picky. I know that beggars can't be choosers, but I'll go with that. I'm not attracted to that. I was attracted to that other. I really kind of feel like you're being power hungry, but of course you are. You're hiring prostitutes. Reality check. He's the guy that wanted me to write his, and it was going to be his autobiography, because it was going to be in his voice. That went great. Then quit trying to Bernie Sanders me. That was what it was. Philip K. Dick and this being healthy. We're laughing. That's healthy. Yeah. Many of the people that I've known, and me included, that dove into Philip K. Dick then had what some might consider to be breaks from reality. And if ingesting the ideas of these people create what outsiders might see as schisms, in my mind, is helpful to be aware that you might experience these things and learn the thing of it's probably wise not to talk about it with many.
Right.
I've seen some really weird stuff from the inside of a mental hospital of somebody sharing that their mind had done something that appears to me as healthy and actually intentionally developed by copywriters for them to have their multi-million-dollar-a-year abilities to hear different voices in one's head. But if under stress and going into finals, if you suddenly have a male voice in your head that gives you the answer to something, maybe it's simply your memory, you know, and you're sub-vocalizing in a different voice. You know what? That happens.
Why by me?
It's giving you the answer. It's not telling you to kill anybody.
Right.
You're doing okay.
Yeah.
Like it's fine to hear your sub-vocalization in a different voice.
Okay.
Just like important safety tip for the world. That doesn't make you schizophrenic.
Right.
Now, Philip K. Dick had the psychological, ontological, cosmographical challenge, psychic crisis, of experiencing pink light flowing through him and being given knowledge of a severe cancer in his daughter. And he took his daughter to the hospital, and he appeared to them as crazy, and he insisted that they at least do blood work. And the blood work found that the white blood cells were high. And as they investigated right where he said it was, they found a cancer in his daughter that they were able to easily remove because it was at so early on. And then he was like, how the fuck could I have known that?
Right, like...
So what was that?
The second foundation?
No, but I like that idea. I like that you're trying that on. And possibly, yes, but more like the mule than the second foundation. And I wouldn't put it beyond the second foundation. So absolutely. Those kinds of powers, the powers of the mind, human potential. Like in the 1970s, human potential was a beautiful thing.
Right.
And there was a guy who has an energy I like and respect that was open to, I brought up, someone brought up scams or hustles or forgot what it was that they said, but cults, and called landmark education a cult. And cult is certainly a demonized word. And most of the cult literature that I've read from my aunt has talks about false gods, and there's no god in landmark education reform. So then
landmark education is just like...
EST in the 70s became landmark education, and EST was the #1 California self-help conference type thing. And so people like Anthony Robbins came from that, where people studied modeling and accelerated human knowledge. And I went to Super Camp, which was the kids' version. When I was 12 years old, went to Super Camp and learned multiple modalities for learning and processing and things that have forever served me well.
Right.
And bringing this around to Philip K. Dick and thinking differently and diversity being good and survival, because over-specialization leads to extinction is the #1 rule for evolution and genetics. And ecology, over-specialization leads to extinction over, you can be amazingly thriving for a few hundred years. And And so Philip K. Dick was like, there's some magic going on, or there's some intelligences through dimensions in which we're not seeing, or sometimes can access and sometimes can't. And so him having read through so many of the religious texts, the rednesses, I think what you were pointing to, which is a fascinating way to look at the movies Gorillas in the Mist, the movie Gorillas in the Mist, because when you see the theme of red is stuff that was done in the original script and not the script that wound up purchasing the original script. Because that screenwriter had written this red theme through that actually got carried to the screen without the director really recognizing what that theme and thread was. And yet maybe it worked better because it was more punchy in those scenes from those, there's also that. So with the diversity of mind and a lot of wonderful ideas like from Marshall Thurber that taught Buckminster Fuller ideas to libertarians and talks about positive deviance and the need for people that think different within a healthy idea ecology. And Philip K. Dick had some notions that there might be experiences that we have of speaking with intelligences in other dimensions, and this is the most graceful and easiest way for them to try and make contact with us, for us to be able to be open to those ideas, as opposed to some of the horror movies of like ghosts trying to talk to us. Right. You know what? Maybe there are ghosts trying to talk to us. Maybe it's intelligences in other dimensions. Maybe it's a number of different things that it might be. And that's simply what Philip K. Dick was inquiring into, was what might it be? Lacking the surety of saying, it is this.
Right.
And honoring the fact that not only did it happen, and he knows that it appears as crazy to others, but here are these validation points.
Right.
And so then Philip K. Dick was visited by the Pink Flight twice, I believe, or 3 times. I believe 3 times. But the other time, he woke up in what appeared to him as a completely other time. And Kurt Vonnegut talks about that similarly. I've never had that experience. Never had anything remotely like that. But Kurt Vonnegut and Philip K. Dick talk about it as real as you are appearing to me presently.
Right.
And I've heard other people have experiences of, for instance, Jesus appearing to them in prison and saying to him, how is this the best thing to have ever happened for you? And that changed their life, and they're now happy and thrilled that they spent 6 years in prison for something they were set up for, and lost their wife and lost what they thought that they had wanted when they were 14. When they were 14, fell in love with this idea about marrying the girl that he was 13 years in love with, becoming wealthy, and living happily ever after together.
So that makes sense with the comment I said earlier, that there are subjective truths and objective truths, and sometimes they coincide.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Scanner Darkly?
I have not seen the movie.
Cool. It would be interesting to perhaps create a Facebook event around deciding to screen the movie.
That would be awesome.
I've got a neat little projector that's actually really powerful and really clear.
Yeah.
I kind of don't. I don't think I want to do it here. It is something that perhaps the new Kava bar would be open to doing, but they might have their own projector. Or there might be somebody's apartment or someplace else that would be good. But anyways, doing the Scanner Darkly as the movie review would also get some viewers. I'm going to close this out. You're comfortable with me posting publicly the last 2 recordings or any of the recordings? You want me to ask you beforehand, or can I just in the future assume?
Yeah, you have this